So let's review those best 5 jokes of Donald Trump at the Al Smith dinner. Thanks to Colin Rogg, who compiled them on X and gave them captions. Let's look at this, how savage he was, because it's something that people say, and I see left-leaning people on Twitter that Donald Trump is not funny, and I disagree. The guy can be really funny, and I don't. I'm really serious about that.
I used to think the Democrats.
Okay, we can disable my subtitles.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz.
That was very good, because you remember that Tim Walz was he's called Tampon Tim for a reason, that he put the tampons on boys' restrooms because is that inclusivity or diversity? I never remember which one it is, but you know that's the kind of things that we got with these crazy people. It was a great joke.
Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas.
That was, well, you know that issue with humor sometimes, it's not the issue. It's a feature, not a bug. Humor is funny because it tells the truth. You have a punchline. The punchline is it's like the moment that you realize you understood the joke, and the punchline is not that usually has to be. It's not that it better be. No, it has to be based on reality, something that is happening, something that maybe you experience in real life, or something that you get. But it has to be based on personal experience or something that is happening, or the truth, the facts. And that's when the punchline works. That's why so many left-leaning folks just don't get it, just don't get the humor. They find it offensive because you're like this. It's a joke, including illegal immigrants in New York, but it's true. It's New York is full of illegal immigrants. It's a fact. It's something that is happening, and you can joke about that. But then someone could say, "Oh, you're joking at the expense of illegal immigrants. You are so heartless. There have been suffering so much." And I can understand that immigrants, illegal and legal as well, and anybody could be suffering, but sometimes you can make a joke about it, and maybe not a dark humor jokes that you can be cruel, of course, but it's not the idea. But a light-hearted joke, why not? And these days, everyone, or at least someone, is always going to get offended. But anybody you say, you have to just go with it. You cannot live like that. It's complete paranoia about everything that we say.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all, because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
So, I don't know if you're familiar, I'm sure that you do, with the term cuck. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you know, C-U-C-K, and it's, I don't know what is the difference with the other word, but you know what I'm talking about. And making a joke about cucks is cook, I don't know how to pronounce it, but you know what I'm talking about. And you know what Donald is talking about. That's, again, something that is happening. And yes, those wives and their boyfriends will be voting for Trump, because Trump is the ultimate alpha male. And it's just funny. And again, I can just imagine the amount of triggering, because I have felt that when I get edgy on X, I began trolling a bit, maybe too far, maybe never too far. Maybe I'm always falling short with my humor. In fact, I could be edgier, but you know that have to keep appearances. You have to keep, gentlemanly, professional. You need to see me speaking full on Venezuelan, but it is going to hurt sensibilities. That's the idea, especially these days. That's going to happen. And the more, the edgier and the more real the joke and the funnier the joke, the more people are going to be pissed. And that's okay. And that's something that I have seen as of late in people that are doing stand-up comedy. I always wanted to do a stand-up comedy. I never actually did stand-up comedy, but every time I was giving a speech, whether it was in human behavior or marketing or 3D special effects, I always added humor. I think that we should always be laughing, and I love humor. And you have seen my videos. I always try to add a joke here and there. So I never really did stand-up comedy, but I made sure that people that watch my public speeches had a fun time and laughed with jokes here and there. But I see so many instances nowadays that you have stand-up comedians that have to deal with hecklers and people who just begin to say something that is, you cannot say that, and whatever. Why are you coming to the show? You're coming to the show to get triggered. I remember that Dave Chappelle Netflix special that you had to, let's say, Decepticons. Remember the Decepticons? What I mean by Decepticons? Well, there were a couple of Decepticons right in front of the audience, and they were pissed. And that was funny. You're going to a show of Dave Chappelle. What are you expecting that's going to happen? You're going to be triggered. Why do you go to pay money to attend something when you know you're going to be pissed, but you know that you're going to be triggered? Why do you treat yourself like that? Maybe they're masochists. I don't know. Maybe they enjoy the pain. There are people that are like that.
A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep him away. That's a nasty one.
And one thing that Kamala could have gone to the dinner, you see that Trump is reading the jokes from a script. He is not ad-libbing them, or he is not using teleprompter. He's actually reading them from a script. There's no problem. It was a very laid-back dinner. It would have been the right call. I don't know how Kamala missed this. That would have been the right thing to do, but her handlers, no, they're not doing their job. We already saw that with the earpiece or not earpiece thing. She's not like the puppet masters put her on that position, but they were not aware that she had to open her mouth, and not the Willie Brown way, but actually say something beyond opportunity economy.
Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
It was the best one of the night, especially because he pronounced Kamala's name wrong. I remember that I used to say Kamala's name wrong a lot of times. I said Kamala, because that's the way that we pronounce her name in Spanish. Because in fact, some of you told me back then when I had this trouble saying her name, so it's said like Pamela, but the problem is that Pamela would say Pamela in Spanish. So if we say Pamela, then we say Kamala. So if for Spanish speakers who give us a pass, I try to pronounce her name right. I think that, that's something that is one of my rules, pronouncing people's names right. But that was funny either way. That Chuck Schumer can still be the first woman president in case of Kamala loses. So what do you think about Donald Trump's joke? Do you think that it was over the top? I think it was pretty normal jokes. In fact, I think those jokes in the 80s would have been like, man, it's like it's not that much of a big deal. Right now, this is considered edgy. Oh my God, he's making fun of illegal immigrants. Oh, give me a break. We need real humor. I think I should add more humor to these live streams, and I try to do my best to amuse you with this content. But again, I would like to know, what do you think about Donald Trump's comments? Remember to download my free body language tips in the description of this video. This is something that you need to do, and you will be subscribed to my email list. I'm writing almost daily to, feel good vibes, and because we need to be hopeful. Subscribe to my email list to download my free tips.